Hi guys, what's up? My name is Laura, and today we're gonna do something very exciting. We're gonna look into the insanity of Munich in Germany. So I'm gonna show you all pictures of the city. Of course, it was a Starfort, so I dressed up today a little bit more opulent, but because we're gonna take a look at decadence, we're gonna go through pictures that I've did in the Residenz Palace in Munich, and we're gonna look at the different symbology, the different people. So I'm very excited, a little bit nervous because it's a lot of stuff, but it's gonna be amazing because in the artwork within the palace you have a lot of different cultures and people, and so it's not gonna get boring, I promise you. And yeah, let's go. Alrighty, so of course, like I said, Munich was a star fort, a beautiful star fort, and the old building on the old building underneath the Residenz Palace has a funny history because so around this thing there are several walls that have been built over the 13th, 14th century, then 15th century, then 17th century, and in the 18th century they started to tear it all down. Up until the 19th century, yeah, they just took it all down. They built it over such a long time, and then they took it down. Very interesting. So in 1385, there were people getting angry and pissed, and because they didn't like the royalty that has been placing themselves within there. So they basically started protesting. So an angry mob was coming at the royals, and that's why they started to build the new thing. It was a Gothic water castle, and it had a silver tower. Interesting word for that. And yeah, so let's get into the Residenz Palace. This is it. Reminds us of all of the old palaces in the world. Actually, when you go through old books about the stories in the Bible, the Temple of Solomon is depicted exactly in the same style, and of course it looks flooded. We all love that. So in the beginning it was basically a monastery, and the city of Munich, and then they had this Residenz Palace. Let us first take a look at the old city. So like I said, these are the rest, the things that they didn't destroy. This is how it looked 1701, and of course with all these beautiful gardens, this beautiful magnificent Starfort, water around it, and all of these towers. Here it is again. Here they say, like, you know, the progression of the building, but this, as all the old cities, look like a circuit board, like the inside of a computer. And yeah, this is monumental. Alrighty, so this is a place I actually am very familiar with Munich. So this is in 1830. This is the main place, the marketplace to meet, and here is standing now a meeting point for like politicians and stuff like that came later. In the beginning, this were all places for the people of the town. So these were living places for them. And then it got rubbed away, it got punched over, basically, and this is a fountain. Yeah, so this is the outside, one of the outsides of the Residenz Palace. This is one of the first rooms you get into. A lot of the palace has been damaged after the First World War, so they rebuilt it, and this place is extremely spooky. When I got into there, it's just like a machine and like a temple and like a ghost place, like a place for ghosts. Yeah, the palace has a lot of different rooms, and of course it has a huge underground catacombs system, made of red brick. This is an outside look onto the false facade. So this is all painted. This is not real decoration because a lot of it got destroyed, as I said. So here we have another map of the Starfort. Here we have an old plan of the gardens, and it all looks like a motherboard, just a way more pretty one. And you see how that goes up, also really interesting. And water, these huge towers, just amazing. 1700s. And yeah, here we have it again. And of course the usual suspects of different people that took over the city. Here's another depiction in 1600. Again, the Starfort, and this is also, you see, very flooded, a lot of mud around, and this type of thing. Yeah, it all looks very technical and very geometric, as all these old, beautiful, luxurious places look. So we're not gonna go into the official history because that's boring. We're gonna look at, that's the plan. No, I'm sorry guys, just 1 second. So I'm always curious about the people who were like reigning there, and I found this house of Wittelsbach, and one of their emblems is this. You have the lion, the eagle, the bull, and usually you have a human's face, like the cherubim, those unearthly beings who directly attend to God in Abrahamic religions. And these Phoenician peoples, who we're going to look at the symbology and the art of them, because they're also, of course, you're going to find a lot of their depictions in the palace, but also other people from other cultures, so it's going to be very interesting. And yeah, also they're protecting the entrance to the Garden of Eden. If you want to get more information on that, I made a video on Netflix Cuties, Cherubs and Cupids. And yeah, they're usually depicted having 2 pairs of wings and 4 faces: a lion, an ox, a human, and an eagle. A lion, an ox, maybe a human, and an eagle. And the eagle is still found on the flags of Germany. So the House of Wittelsbach. I'm gonna just show you a couple of their faces. The usual big-eyed, kind of strange-looking people. And now take a look at this. So it goes, of course, way back into antiquity. The House of Wittelsbach, German Haus Wittelsbach, is a German Bavarian dynasty, which branches that rule or have ruled over territories including Bavaria, Holland, Zealand, Cologne, Sweden, Romania, Bohemia, Hungary, Denmark, Norway, Greece, and the Holy Roman Empire. The House of Windsor, the reigning royal house of the British throne, are descendants of Sophia of Hanover, a Wittelsbach princess and electress of Hanover. I always read in German this is called Kurfürstin or Kurfürst, and is a royal title, but electress and elector, electing, electricity, we're gonna see the connection between them and electric forces. And so you have all of these different branches, basically, and they reigned a lot of different places. I mean, look at the amount of people who took over. Yeah, and these are the places they inhabit, of course. All of the beautiful, majestic buildings, castles, and palaces in Germany, in Bavaria, and they love their fountains. Okay, guys, let's get into the pictures. So, as I said, I went to the palace and I took a lot of pictures about 2 years ago. Are we still running? Yes. And I went through them today, and some of them are not the best quality, but I kind of done them, dropped them into the Photoshop, and so hope, yeah, I'm gonna give some comments, and it's gonna be very interesting. Let's go. Okay, here, and we get here, and then we start. Where to start, guys? Okay, so this is basically the first room you get into. This is not one of my pictures. This is the garage. Everything is made out of shells, and this looks very, very old. So I think actually they had beneath, when you go inside there, I think you can go down. This is just speculation. Of course, Herm is here. You can go down and probably get into a Lustgrot or something like that. So, these things are completely made out of stone. So these are stoneworks. They have a lot of tables and stuff like that, and they cut the stone in very, I don't know, very tiny pieces and very thin pieces, I guess. I am not an expert on that, and put them into these pictures, and this always looks like portals. I mean, you go here, there's water, and then again is a portal for your psyche. Alrighty, so this picture reminded me so much of after the flood, when they came. You can see different flags, different people with different philosophies and way of life, but very large people, very powerful people with technology. So these are depictions of a Chinese court. You have, of course, the caduceus, you have the shells. So they all came from the sea, maybe from another place. Most definitely, I mean, in myth, they are coming all from the north. And I think our continents are just an area of a bigger world. And yeah, so it's funny because they look more like, I don't know, Chinese, a little bit more Chinese, just because of the mustaches. And you have those strange creatures with boobs, and again, and you have these serpent-like sea creatures, and the dragon. An elephant is looking at us. Don't be tricked by them. Yeah, this is definitely Asian. with the dragons. Also, this also Greco-Roman, whatever you want to call it. This is actually a carpet. And then you have them, of course, discussing the signs that they will bring to their new servants. So this is an area of the palace that I didn't really get. There wasn't much in there. It's for maybe for conferences, I guess. But the brickwork is, of course, as we always see it, just amazing, old, touched up on a couple of times, put in some bricks maybe. But yeah, just beautiful work. This is one. Sorry guys for the quality, but this was really dark. So this is a ruin portrait that we get a lot of from the Renaissance, about the last for them the last reset, the last catastrophe, and we had a couple of them. These I found also really interesting. Again, those cherubims, they in this palace I found them having also this more butterfly wings types. These remind me actually of old paintings from India. And yeah, they had interesting clothes. This is just something that I found also pretty cool. So, usually Europe's royalty has this type of genetic expression. Very pale, very big eyes, not much hair, or maybe this is a wig, who knows. Straight nose. So these people who came from outside of our realm into this realm were pretty big. They had different types of different body types as we. They were much larger than we, not only in height but in proportions. They had this really straight nose that doesn't have this dimple here. Some of them have. I think these are then the more hybrid types, when these people came and mixed with the native people that were already here. And like the Roman depictions, they have a very straight long nose. Oh, sorry about that. Here. But she has this dimple, I think. I think she's one of the first mixed people. And here we have again the anomaly with the date. It's a J, I would say. It's a J663. Do your research on that. Maybe added that they maybe added 1,000 years or something is off with all of these old dates that they give us. So what do we see here? A beautiful scene in a beautiful gardens, and they're just having their fun. These look very human to me, but again, this could be the second, third, or fourth generation of those mixes, because they still have these eyes and a very a very light skin. And you can see the difference between these people and this one. This reminds me more of Roman depictions. It has breasts, but it looks like a boy, so I don't know about that. Doesn't matter, but we have to keep an eye on all of these gadgets that they carry with them. So this again is a carpet. They're having discussions, and look at those beautiful, magnificent castle behind them. Cool hats. Yeah, really cool styles. And this is what you see everywhere. They all have their own specific clothes. This is typically Phoenician, as Martin Liedtke would say. You have the sea monster, you have the anchor, you have this Bacchus, Dionysus type style on the head, and he holds up a mirror or a portal or a teleprompter or whatever. These guys seem to stare out of this other dimension, and again this beautiful architecture in the back. So these are the types of the style that we consider, I consider, and other people consider Phoenician. It is more integrated with nature and with the sea. But the problem with that is that they bring these very lavish lifestyle where people just get drunk as hell and don't really care about their responsibilities anymore. So it's a very unhealthy way of living. This is very symbolic. I don't actually know what that means. Here's water pouring out and he's looking at his treasure, at his ring. I found that very, very funny. You know those people who like look, I'm one of them, when they get some new cannabis, they're gonna look at it very closely. Somehow that reminded me of these situations. So, and then we go into this strangeness. Roman style, maybe? Little doggy. And this very strange sphinx-like woman, and of course he has his foot on her. And we have big architecture. He looks a little bit wasted, and we have nature in the background, and of course this very elaborate compass or whatever this technology might be. Here we have a warrior princess. She's depicted as very pale with those big round eyes, not that much of this straight nose, but a very long nose. So she has still those traits of these types of people. They are from the lion clan, and you often see that there's a lot of lions involved. Beautiful clothes again. And I actually found this princess, Zenobia, was a 3rd century queen of an empire in Syria. Many legends surround her ancestry. She was probably not a commoner, and she married the ruler of the city. Her husband became king in 260. Blah 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 blah. So she was a warrior queen. Zenobia was a cultured monarch and fostered mind control, and fostered an intellectual environment in her court, which was open to scholars and philosophers. She was tolerant towards her subjects and protected religious minorities. The queen maintained a stable administration which governed a multicultural, multi-ethnic empire. And this is what we see in a lot of these old books about the Middle East, about old Persia, about Africa, that there were many different types of people with many different genetics and cultures which lived together or side by side. Different tribes, different kingdoms, different people. With definitely more genetic expressions that we can see currently today. At least they look different than we do. So a really interesting depiction of her here. Syria, Phoenicians, they were looking pretty much like this. You still see this when you do a little bit of research in the people that are there, and they have this kind of look. Or a group that lived there had this kind of look. So this is more European, I would say. This is more French, and you have the open wings, the charge, the plasma, the globe system, and very, very symbolic. And this is just a tiny, tiny spot on a huge, huge wall. Actually, the ceiling. So we have her over them, and she gives. This is a mirror, I think. Yeah, this is a mirror. And they always have mirrors, and they're projecting stuff. They have their lions, their peacocks, and their eagles. And it's a lot about electricity and energetic power. I have forgotten about this at all, and it was very dark, so I made it visible. I don't know where that is. It's interesting that this is like an... Oh, so this type of sign from Flat Earth British, shout out to Martin Liedtke again, means open charge. So, but this also looks like it's made for that to have fire. So very interesting. Here we have people from Turkish area, Middle East, the Roman dude, the Phoenician dude, a beast down there, and they're getting their inspiration from the gods, from the stars, and they are enchanted. Leonidas, also a very prominent figure. The eagle kills the snake. So it's all about these different people from these different lands that came, and they have these. I think the animals that are symbolic for them, and each clan basically has their own animal, so to speak, their spirit animal, you could say, which has its own philosophy and its own symbolic meaning. And we have a lot of times we have the lion, we have the eagle, we have the snake, we have the mer people, who have also serpent-like, certain type-like tails. We have... What else? We have the bull, or the ox, and we also have the swan. And the swan comes later up, and the swan is very prominent in Slavic tales and myths, in Slavic, Scandinavian, and German tales and myths. And you're gonna see that later. So these are different types of clans, different types of people. They all, like I said, they have a similar stature. They look a little bit similar, but they're different people with different agendas, I would say. So I found this just amazing artwork. And there we have the lion, but he holds up a shield where the eagle kills the snake, or dominates the snake. Again, this reminded me of Earth. All stone cut, and this is a huge column. So we have, this is what we see, Roman, Phoenician. They're always on some sort of clouds, and influencing the people in the earthly realm. Here we have them again. And again. A lot of times with the moon on their forehead. This is like basically Artemis, I think. This is probably Dionysus. She holds up a strange ball and looks again into probably a portal. And yeah, very interesting scene. Again on clouds, of course. And here's what we mean by, or what I meant by electrical, and this type of technology. Like this little guy is like, how does that work? And he's like, the dumbest doesn't know how that works. And he's like, I don't know, I want to eat. We have here a little griffin, a globe that they hold, and these are basically what you find in India and the Bhatma Gita, and those, or Bhatma Gita, please don't quote me on that. Types of technology. Zeus has this type of technology, and it's metal and electricity, basically. Here we have the globe, the lyre, a book, the all-seeing eye, and a sun, and they're basically contemplating, I think, about their about the stuff that I want to give to the normal people. And here we have a huge naked, dark man, again with the globe. Basically a very similar scene, but here we have a wedding with all of these strange horn resembling like hair, and with the corsets that make you basically lose your boobs. I mean, they get pushed out a little bit on the top, but actually with when you were like a normal everyday normal person, your nipples would be here, and basically your boobs would hang out. So these people have some different type of stature, some different type of body, and you see the eyes are also very big. They have now a little bit more human noses, and here you have maybe some muses, who knows. Here again we have the moon and the sun doing their own thing. I don't know who he is, but we have a pyramid here, a clock, a sand clock, and again a projection, a mirroring, a projecting of a different reality probably. And we have it again in the portal and in the circle, or surrounded by another circle and another circle and another circle. Portals. Here we have again, we would say Phoenician symbology, the clouds, the snake. They love to show their boobs. The Holy Spirit, the dove is also a very ancient symbol, and she has the sun in her hand. Again, looking like it's a mirror. This I found also very interesting. You have those typical Roman sandals, and I think maybe a lion. And again, those mirror portals, and this angel holds a city in his hands, a walled city. More religious type of symbology, very beautiful medieval city. And this is what you see with the Phoenicians, because the Phoenicians brought this type of Abrahamic religion with them, mixed up with all the other stuff that was going on back then there. So this is not purely modern Christian, Western Christian. This is older. And here we have those little peoples. Again, this beautiful stone cutting work. I mean, this is insane. There was much more, but I didn't have any any room for more pictures. So as I said, you have different rooms in this palace, and every room has a certain theme. So this is basically their private collection. Here we have the Sphinx, and yeah, it makes totally sense. When you look at this stuff in terms of technology, maybe this was made later. It doesn't look like the original stunning artwork, although it's very close. But yeah, and this is on the top. These are the Phoenician Mer people. Some have just one tail, looking like more of a serpent. A lot of them have two tails, like the one, I forgot her name, the one on the Starbucks, on the early Starbucks logo. And then we have here the king or emperor or whatever. This I found extremely beautiful. This is extremely high, and I think this little chair is a joke. I think there was a huge throne, at least this high, and the head of the king or the queen would be just underneath this magical symbol. So let's go on. And the funny thing is, you find in these more religious depictions a lot of naked people, a lot of small naked people, angels, and you have these instruments, always the sun spanning its rays. This guy doesn't look as if he has good intentions. Maybe he's after the gold. Who knows? And these types of devices I find really interesting. I know you make threads out of them, but yeah, Medusa. I just wanted to say the Norns, or the three wise women which look after time and weave the destiny of man from Greek mythology and from Celtic mythology. This is also very interesting. And again, the cherubims. Beautiful head, boobs out as always, Roman styled. Yeah, and here now we get into my favorite room. This room is a huge room in the basement, basically in the basement. So this residence has also levels and levels underground, of course, and these more luxurious things got into there, I think, later and from different people. And actually, before we go into this specific type, I want to show you something that is a little bit more recently made, and where you can see that the Greek influence is not what they tell us. So we have here angels, again, charge, electricity, everything in this Greek room is in gold, but the artwork is modern. It's not old. It's a very bad quality. I mean, of course, this is of course a beautiful quality, but generally, when you look at the art, is just an imitation of what else is there. I mean, this looks very cheap in comparison with the other stuff, and this is one of the oldest civilizations, and I think they put it in there and covered it completely with like gold, golden paint, just to kind of compensate for the actually bad quality of the stuff that is on the walls, the lyre. But the artwork we have, like in these artifacts and furniture style things, like this clock or whatever this should represent, the stars, the constellations, and the Phoenicians are all about this stars and electricity and all this opulent stuff. So I think, yeah, we had some dragons here and a ram and an owl on the top. Yeah, so let's get into these. So these are depictions of the Nibelungen saga. And when you look at these people, you see that they are different, and especially different from the Phoenicians. Although they have a very similar genetic expression, to me they just look way more noble, and you don't see them like being drunk all over the place and pants around them. Actually, they have the symbol of the swan. So to me, these people represent the Celtics, the Slavs, and the Nordic people, basically, also because this basically plays in Germany, but it has Scandinavia and Iceland within it. So all of these northern type people, I mean, look at her neck. They were huge. They were warriors, and they also have this very straight nose, these big eyes. But they don't look as insane as the other tribes, as the Phoenicians, and they also have a very intricate relationship with water, with nature, but they don't seem to be very not opulent, but they look and seem like they have a more of a noble and honorable society and philosophy. And this is also what you get when you read Scandinavic myths and legends, and there are different books about the Slavic people. Also, all their mythology is very similar. They share a lot of things, like the dragon, and yeah. So this is a wedding, I guess. He's like a little bit more of a different type. They're all a little bit darker, but they still have a similar expression, similar body type, and she looks like she's pissed because he's marrying her, and maybe they are sisters, but they look more like they come from the sea. You see it also here. This is more leaned towards nature, and reminds me more of the sea. And beautiful, beautiful clothes they have. So here you see it. They come from the ocean, from the sea. Hyperboreans, whatever you want to call them. Like I said, I think, and I'm quite sure that there were different types of clans, families, and maybe even kingdoms that were coming in. Here she has a star. And they have very light skin, brown hair, blonde hair, but also a lot of reddish hair. And here they're just arriving, and those people have the most amazing hats. The most amazing hats. This is just one of them. And see here again, more reddish people, and they are a little bit more darker, more sun-kissed. I mean, yeah, just look at the expression on their faces. They don't have... She's pissed, I think. And he's like, whoa, 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 no, hold on, I didn't look at her. But the expression, the style, the way that they carry themselves, and their energy is just seems to me more noble, and they have such dope hats. And I felt really comfortable in this room because, yeah, you also had, of course, this whole extravagant stuff, but the acoustic there was brilliant. I was singing in there, and I just felt at home. This was the only place where I actually felt comfortable in this residency, because all of the other stuff was just too much, just too strange. So here we have symbols that we saw before, the eagles, electrical charge, the Nibelungen saga. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. And here it's in old German, and it's actually it's basically saying, with us there is a beautiful, wondrous legend shared, like something like that. And this is what I mean, how you should depict children. Don't depict them as chubby, nasty looking little naked cupids. Excuse me. Cupids, because that's just disgusting. Yeah, look at them. Look at this beauty. Siegfried, maybe this is actually Sigurd or Siegfried, who killed the dragon, and a very similar story you have in Slavic myths. Very similar story. So again, I think this is a dragon, I'm not sure. It's just, yeah, and here we have this, actually she looks like the woman with the two tails, sea tails, but it's actually nature, but she looks very similar, just the nature representation. And here you have the swans. Yeah, so they have amazing clothes. They're very large, as you can see. And here is one of those Phoenician ladies with the fishtail. I think she has two, most probably. And she wants to talk. She want to have a little chit chat. Let's see if we have more. Yeah, for sure we have more. What do you think, guys? Haven't they just the most, the dopest happy hats you ever seen? They are. And these things, they're just so tied to the body, but they still have their ropes. And she's also not very happy about what is happening. But they always have the skin tied clothes and ropes over them, maybe to protect them. Yeah, so the lion and the eagle are struggling with each other. And there you see, they have very similar features, just a little bit different area maybe where they come from. And they have these amazing metal leggings. This reminds me actually of these of this thing that you know, from the Lord of the Rings, that you put on yourself. I don't know what is it called, what it is called in English, but basically made by the elves. No, made by the dwarves for the elves. And there you have the same symbology as here. The lion kills the eagle, the clan of the eagle. Beautiful old city. You still want to say this is Greco-Roman? This is old Germany. I think this is old Germany, yeah. Yeah, so make sure to check out this saga. As I said, a very similar one you find in the Slavic traditions. And here again with his happy head. And here you see a very similar type, like the two snakes going up, but this is more Nordic, more Slavic, more Nordic. Beautiful intricate columns, beautiful stone city. And yeah, there are fights going on. They're not as happy. Again, fights, wars. Beautiful happy head. Skin tight, and I mean, look at those muscles, all of them. They were big people. This is stunning. This looks like a fish skin. You know, I don't know what it's called in English, but you know. And it is not his body. It is his armor and his horse's armor. Just to make this amazing. And here we have it again. We have most probably either a ram or an eagle, the ox, the lion, and something down there. So, last thing I'm gonna show to you from this palace is this thing. This is a walnut. Tell me that the people didn't have technology, guys. Tell me. This is a walnut. How did they do this? Are you freaking kidding me? This is a nut. Okay? A nut. This is nuts. So, yeah, I think that's it. Let's see how long we have. Yeah, that's enough. So, this is was very fun. I hope you enjoyed it, guys, and I'm gonna see you in the next video, in the next presentation. I'm gonna pump out a lot of them. Now I finally have screen recording and have a lot to talk about. Wishing you a lovely day, and hopefully until next time. Bye bye.